Hey, this is going to show you how to take apart and reassemble the KX-TGA660 telephone. Basically, just take the battery cover off and you'll take the battery out. I don't have that. There's two screws down at the bottom. You'll need a small Phillips screwdriver and probably a small flathead or some sort of flat prying tool. So first you just take those two screws out. There's two different size screws, so you want to keep them separated. There's three of these, two for the housing, one for the antenna. So after you get the two screws apart, there's a couple clips on each side, and then there's two big clips on the top. So we want to basically open it this way. You start splitting it apart and put some pressure right there. I think there's a snap just came off right there, and there's probably another one right above this headset jack cover. But what you want to do is just apply some pressure, and I got my thumb jammed in there so it's spread apart, and then you can just sort of put the pry tool and the flat screwdriver in a little bit and then slide it up until you can't slide it up anymore, and then just a tiny little tweak will pop that out. Now that I've got that one out, you can pry it apart a little bit more, and it might come off. You might be able to wiggle it back and forth, but this one's resisting. So there's another clip right above this place where the belt clip latches onto, and yeah, I just pop that in there, and since there's pressure in the back, it comes off very easily. Now, sometimes you can just wiggle this back and forth and it'll pop off, but this one's being a little stiff. So I'm going to keep applying some pressure right there, and I'm going to get this one out right above the headset jack plug right there. So you're not jamming in, you're not prying, I'm not deforming the plastic at all, and that popped out. Now you can wiggle this back and forth. The headset jack started to fall out there. Oh, so just wiggle it around and those last ones will come off, and then it's going to come off that way or kind of up like that to get off these very large clips on the top. So now you got the rubber headset jack. Now this one is odd. There's this thing here, which usually there's a speaker in there. I'm thinking something's wrong with this phone. Oh yeah, here it is. The speaker, sorry. There's a speaker right here, wires that went to here, so somebody's messed with this phone in the past. Probably took it apart and broke it. If you pull this apart too rough, if you grab and try to break it apart, you're going to pull the wires out of that speaker that are connected to the back housing, which somebody else has already done. So basically, at this point, unfortunately I don't have another phone to show you, the speaker will still be attached, so this won't be loose. There'll be a wire going to it, so you'd probably have to keep it nearby like that with the wire going to the speaker. So there's another screw right here in the corner, and that's the same size as the two in the back. And then down here the charger pins are shorter screws. So I'm just going to keep those with these little metal pins that come out. And these are different. There's a right and a left one, so I'll have to put those back in the right order. So once you've got that apart, you can lift up the back of the circuit board and kind of flip it over. Now remember, there's a wire attached here, so you're probably going to want to do something like that. And this speaker is just loose hanging here. It goes back into this little pocket right here. There's also a light pipe right here in the corner that can fall out. If you can, just leave it there, but if that falls out, you're going to want to put it back in. See if I can get this under focus. Yeah. So that can just fall out pretty easily. So anyway, at this point you have access to the keypad if you need to clean this or install any of the repair kits. And once you're done with that, you want to put this speaker is just loose. It's going to go in here. And there's a little, there's a plastic pin right here with a little gap between it. And that's where the wires can go down in there. You don't need to push hard, they just kind of tuck in there. And that'll keep it nice and neat. And then this would go back over like that. And you want to make sure when you put it together, back together, that these wires aren't pinched anywhere. So we've got one of the 3 larger screws back up here. Now this right here, there's a metal tab that goes into a hole, and then this back here is the charge. So it sits right down like that. If you were trying to put it in the other side, it wouldn't fit at all. So you should be able to, process of elimination, there's only 2. Get them back in. There's a little pin goes into a hole, pin goes in a hole. The screws are lined up. And then you got the headset jack. Has a little rubber tab that goes into a slot. That'll fall out really easy, so be a little bit careful. And of course you're going to have the speaker wire hooked up there, but you can just flip it around, and then you want to tuck in that top clip up there first. It doesn't even snap in really, it just sort of tucks in. And then make sure you're not pinching any wires. And it'll just snap back together. And oh, yeah, I didn't do the top good enough there. So I'm going to have to take that back off real quick. And make sure to push down good. Oh yeah, there. It fits in normally. I didn't have it quite right last time, and then it very easily snaps in. The 2 last screws back here. If you've taken out the rubber keypad, sometimes the buttons are jammed in, like they might be stuck in underneath the housing, and you can just sort of use your pry tool to pop it back out. It should come out very easily. And if you've done it right, the charger pin should look like that. And you should be all set.